Is she fighting a Grand Fae with a whip? And they apparently have the technology to open magical gates to the realm of water to power cities. Where are the blickies in my manga that's getting crowdfunded today? Well, they do exist, and Morgana has carried one around in her RPs. And the thing that you need to understand about my mangas is the fact that they're all in the same world. But just because they're in the same world does not mean they all share the same technology levels. And this is where my world building gets nasty, and I put a lot of thought into it. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that the gods have effectively split up the world into their own domains. And the land bridge is why certain places do and do not have technology, but specifically the Southern Guardian, which is Igni, the spirit of fire and metal, and the Northern Guardian at the Tower of Mecca, Sir Kane, which is one of Homer's holy knights. But what does this have to do with making firearms? So the thing about the land bridge is it's incredibly difficult to get across, and you effectively need their permissions in order to make that crossing, because the gods long ago set up an accord that the North and the South were to be separated, and this would be done via the land bridge. So Homer and Kane are responsible for keeping people from crossing from the northern border to the south, and he does this by what he has invented at the Tower of Mecca, which is effectively constructs and artillery. Literally every inch of that northern mountain range has been mapped out by constructs who are constantly surveying and can give coordinates to artillery strikes within a couple feet of accuracy, should somebody ignore the warnings or stray from the path that they've been approved to go on. And he has demonstrated his ability to hold control over that range by the clan orcs in the range. There are tens of thousands of orcs that are basically being treated like Fallout vault living. He does specific experimentation on orcs to understand society better. But Igni, he's a little different. Because Igni runs the precious lands of the South like an empire, where his ancient Red Dragon kid run capitals, Igni's demonstrated that he's not really going to stop you unless you're trying to move an army across a land bridge. But that's not why he's on this list. What do you need for firearms? Metal. And he is the spirit of fire and metal, which means he can control where metals are in the world. At his will, he can adjust their structural integrity. And unless your armor is magical, if he wills it, it will literally just disintegrate on you. And for gunpowder, you got to deal with Ezeron, the spirit of snow and earth. And because these two have so much soft power in the world, they have decided they will regulate who and who does not get access to firearm-esque weapons. They've partially done this because they've been alive long enough to see how mortals handle firearms. In this go around, they're just like, we don't really want to deal with it that much. But on a grander scale, enchanting weapons to make them magical is incredibly difficult. There is no getting around the fact that you need magical items to take on elder beings that are trying to destroy the world or the realms. But just getting magical items and using them isn't that easy. Most of them are swords, bows, rings, staves, things that take training to use. And so it does not benefit the world for everyone to just have easy access to firearms, because just like in the real world, if you took a soldier and took their gun away from them and handed them a bow and arrow, they're not going to be efficient at using it. And magical items are the best weapons against these types of entities. So you train your world's population in order to use gear that is going to be efficient against them. And the great ones that rise up that can use this gear efficiently, they're the ones that's making the biggest difference. Because if the world doesn't survive, nothing else matters. Oh yeah, on a local level, it seems like a waste to have people still using swords and clubs and fists. So back to the Nimbara fight. Vallona's not just using a whip, she is using a magic item. Like Desolation, the god of destruction, some of his troops, specifically those within the Material Command, do have access to Kraggle rifles, which is basically firearms, along with power armor. And that's because he came to an understanding and made a trade restriction deal, meaning he can use those weapons and armor for very specific circumstances. If you like this level of world building, go ahead and support Deep Stalker Crow because we've only got a couple hours left. If we can reach 5,000, I will put a special gift in every backer's box.